1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps per each one. Okay, so we're going to start with table. What is a table? When we say table in math, what are we talking about? We're talking about X and Y. All right, Eric, Abdurrahman, thanks. That's okay. Glad that you guys are talking. Not a lot of people were talking the last one. Tables X, Y. This is a list of ordered pairs. Alright, I'm going to do my ordered pairs in yellow. So if you want to pick yellow, you can, or you can pick any other color. But we're going to kind of color coordinate as we go, so keep the yellow out. And the table will kind of have, it goes across. So like this is our X, Y. We'll have an ordered pair there as an X and a Y. All right, next up we have slope. What is slope in math? What letter have we been thinking about? Just the one letter. M. That's okay. You're going to tell us about the next one anyways. We'll get there. Okay, so M. And if we find slope on a graph, what are our directions to find slope on a graph? What over what? Good. Rise over run. All right, if I have slope from 2 points, that's our formula, what is the formula? Y. That's the slope-intercept formula. This one, it's at y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That one we haven't talked about in a little while, so it's a good review for us. This is a good review lesson just to remember everything. Anytime I see slope today, I'm going to use orange. So for me, slope will be orange. All right, so let's go down to slope-intercept form because that's the one that you guys have really worked on really hard. Slope-intercept form is what? Y equals mx plus b. And m stands for slope. B stands for y-intercept. Good. So anytime I see slope today, I'm going to color code my slope the same color. I'm doing slope in orange. So my slope is orange. That's a slope. And then one last color today is blue. And I'm going to do blue with my y-intercepts. So I would find slope in the slope-intercept form. Where else in these forms would I see a y-intercept? Is the y-intercept going to be part of the point-slope form? No. Could I put the y-intercept on the graph? Yeah, where on a graph is the y-intercept? Good, the y-axis. So I'm going to color code this y-axis in blue. That way I remember that these are connected. Y-intercept goes on the y-axis. And it says y there, but I might even make that a little bit bigger, that this is the y-axis. All right, point slope form. What's our form for point slope form? Y minus y1 times, good, x minus x1. Nice. All right, we already colored our point. Our point was colored in, not point, I lied, slope. Slope is colored in orange. So I'm going to use orange again for slope. Which part is my slope here? M. All right, and then we also have our point. And a point we can find in our table. We have points here. This is also going to be a point. We could also find point on a graph with our x and y. Which part is going to be our point that we'll actually write with numbers? You're right. So we have slope. We'll put a number in there. What other places would be the ordered pair of the point? Good. Y1 and x1. And which one goes first? X1. Good. So our point is x1, y1. And remember with our point, that's kind of the goofy one where we're going to think opposite. So this is the only place where we're going to think opposite. So if it's a positive, we're actually going to write it as a minus. If it's a plus, we're actually going to write it as a negative. Okay, and that's only with the point. The slope, if the slope is positive, it's positive. If the slope is negative, it's negative. That stays the same. All right, next up we got standard form. We haven't done standard form yet. This is going to be new to us today, and there's a reason why we haven't done standard form. It's because we don't use it a lot with real life situations, but in math problems we don't use it a lot. It's very confusing because it's goofy because we use it a lot, but we don't use it a lot. Okay, standard form looks like A, capital A, X plus capital B, Y equals, and then a capital C. Now, the reason why we don't, let me rephrase how I said that before. We use it a lot, but we don't use it a lot. Standard form is great for real life situations. Standard form is not a great place to go to a graph. It's not easy to graph, and right now we're really focusing on that graphing, so that's why we've been kind of, avoiding it per se. Okay, and there's a couple special rules for standard form that make it more complex. Okay, A has to be a positive whole number. A has to be a positive whole number. So no negatives for A. We're going to put a number there. And it has to be a positive number. Okay, and it has to be a whole number. No fraction, no decimal. B and C are similar, but B and C can be negative. So B and C are positive or negative whole numbers. B and C are positive or negative whole numbers. So in standard form, we can't have any fractions at all, which runs into a problem because when we talk about slope, slope is what over what? Rise over run. Is slope always a whole number? No. So because we're dealing with a fraction with slope, this one it gets to be a little bit more complex. But it's actually all stuff that you've done before. You just don't know that you were doing it. All right, and then our last form is a word problem. Word problem means a real life situation. Couple hints for word problems that we're going to write. Anytime that I need a variable, a variable means I'm looking for missing amounts or changing amounts even. So a variable means we're looking for missing amounts. Anytime we see a starting amount or a starting value, our starting amount will always be our y-intercept, or b. I'm going to do that blue because did my y-intercept blue, just so I can see it. And then there's one more thing we'll write with our word problems. And that's anytime I see like something per something. I see that word per. Yeah, per capita. Or like it's $2 per ticket. $5 per Celsius drink, right? Okay, that per tells us that we're going to be multiplying, so it's going to give us a coefficient with a variable. I'm going to do that W with a slash, so that's with a variable. So coefficient with a variable. So that's going to give us a number, and we're going to put it with either the x or the y. Depending on what type of word problem we have, sometimes that will be the slope, and then sometimes that will be like the by or the ax, depending on the problem and what they all give us. All right, we're going to start the next problem. We won't get too far along. We probably won't finish it, but we'll get close. Then we'll come back and we'll finish that problem Monday, and then do the second one Monday, and then we will have, there is one quick check on this one, and then Tuesday's your one-pager, Wednesday's your test. All right, so overall, how many ways can we write kind of the same relationship? We can show that relationship in a table, a graph, slope-intercept form, point-slope form, a word problem, and stand form. So really there's 6 ways to show it. Slope, is slope going to tell me everything I need to know about that relationship? No, it just tells me that rise and run. So this is a kind of it's a needed step. We need to define the slope in order to do everything else. But the slope isn't actually a representation. So it's these 6 are the real important ones. And then slope helps us do the other parts. So we need it kind of as an in-between step. All right, I'm going to open up my page. All right, and this is going to be all one problem. Okay, so this is all one problem. So this is going to be problem 1. So if you want to write problem 1 at the top, you can. And then this one over here will be problem 2. We're going to work on problem 1 today. We aren't going to get all the way through it. Again, these are really long notes because these are, how many steps are there? 7. These are 7-step problems. So even though it's only it's problem 1, all of this stuff is going to connect. It's all going to be the same thing. We're going to show it 6 different ways and find the slope. Okay? So we're going to start with, this is number 1. This is our starting place. We're going to start with a table. And in our table, we're going to have it, this is the part that was given to us, the information we know. We know it's x, y. And they're giving us 3 ordered pairs to start with. So one ordered pair we have is 4, 5. Then we have 8, 8. And we have 20, 17. So based on that information, I now need to do slope graph, slope-intercept form, point slope form, a word problem, and standard form based on that info. Okay, there's a couple ways we could do it. There's a lot of different methods on how you go through this and which one you do first, which one do you do next. We want to think logically what makes the most sense. So after the table, what would be our next logical step to do? Would we find the slope, make the graph, do point slope form, slope intercept form? Yeah, we could find slope. Could we graph it? We could start graphing it. We have 4, 5, but do I have the other points on my graph? No, so that wouldn't work. So yeah, we can do our slope. So step number 2, slope. We can do a little arrow showing that that's what we're thinking. We're going to slope next. So for slope, we're going to use that slope formula. We're going to use 2 points. So which 2 points from our table should we use? We have 3 points to choose from. Okay, 4, 5. What other point do we want to use? 8, 8 or 20, 17? Okay, 20 and 17. So this is good review for us. When we find slope from 2 ordered pairs, we label them x, y, x, y. Our 1's go together and our 2's go together. So what number am I going to start with? And if you need to flip back, flip back. We wrote it on the first page. We start with y2 minus y1 in the top. So what is my y2? 17 minus, what is my y1? 5. Okay, over. Now on the bottom, x2 minus x1. Good, 20 minus 4. Okay, we find those answers. What's 17 minus 5? 12. 20 minus 4? 16. Can I simplify 12 over 16? I can. What can I divide both 12 and 16 by? 4. If you just typed this whole problem into your calculator and you were really careful about this going across, that could work out. I don't have my calculator back here, so I can't show you. You could also type in 12 over 16 into your calculator and have it simplify it for you. Or you can just have a super smart friend like Vienna. I said that so weird so many times. I'm sorry. Okay, and she says we can divide by 4. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So our slope is 3/4. So I'm going to color that orange. That's my slope. My M is 3/4. Right, what might be the next step now that we have our slope? Should we now do our graph, slope-intercept form, point slope form, a word problem, or standard form? Slope-intercept form or point slope form? Do we know the y-intercept? No. Do we know a point? Yes. Yeah, we have a point. So we're going to go to point slope form now. We know slope. We have a point. So this is number 3. So in that little circle, we're supposed to be numbering the order we go in. This is our step number 3. All right, point slope form. What point are we going to use? Which one from the graph or from the table should we use? Should we just keep using 4, 5? Okay, 4, 5 is our point. And what's our slope? 3 over 4. Okay, I'm going to go back and just color in where I've seen that point before, that 4, 5. Was here, 4, 5. And it was here, 4, 5. So that point is being consistently used throughout 3 processes. That's where we'll pick up on Monday, and then we'll finish problem 1, and then we'll do problem 2. So if you don't want to glue it in quite yet, you can just fold it and put it in your notes. Slide it in your notebook so you don't lose it. We'll pick up there Monday, and then